we'll get going on the presentation.
All right. I'm Rohe Levy. Okay, there we go. I'm Rohe Levy. We have offices in San Diego, California, Scottsdale, Arizona, and also in Austin, Texas. What we are is a third-party administrative premium finance. So we help you guys design the case, sell the case, find the funding for the case, and then adherence. How many of you guys have done a premium finance case? Nice. What we're going to do today is kind of an overview of some of the stress testing and some systems that are out there under premium finance. I like to keep this interactive, so if there's questions that come around, or you guys have seen any of the slides or anything, please just fire away questions. I'll start with a brief overview of premium finance, the banking side of it, carrier side of it, what's going on right now. Then we're going to go into all the slides. So right now, premium finance, I'll speak to the carrier side. You can do a premium finance policy under any fixed life insurance contract. So it can be a universal life, index life, or it could be a whole life. If you look at statistics from around the banking world, right now about 70% is done in the IUL world. Typical carriers that you're looking at right now that do a lot of business are going to be Pacific Life, Penn Mutual, Symetra is just starting up a platform to it. Minnesota does a good amount, and all of them. Definitely you can use Lincoln, John Hancock, etc. Voya, there's quite a few carriers that are good, some are not so good, but it's only each one has their own rules and regs. On the rules that you typically look at, a qualified candidate is going to be any age, so age is irrelevant. Status of underwriting is also irrelevant, but what is relevant is their net worth and income. So we're looking for candidates that are going to be $500 in net worth, and that is all encompassing. So that's going to be your business, your homes, your real estate, any type of asset that you have, personal property and business property. That adds up to the $5 million total. You're also looking for an income typically $250,000 or greater. So those are kind of like the bare minimums you want to think about. You can go drop it down. So let's say you've got a guy who is 35 years old. So typically you're looking at a 350 that is going to be making good money. And when we say good money, that should be $500,000 or greater. We can actually lower that net worth to $5 million because the banks and the carriers look at that person who's going to be there. So these are the people that you know, your doctors, your entrepreneurs that are typically making very good money, but just young. When you think of the client profile of premium finance, I always think of this as a business marketplace tool. So this is going to be something that, for a person that understands leverage. Someone who says that I make my money doing X. So when you think of a candidate, basically this is the mindset that I like to think of. So if you have your business owner, your entrepreneur says, yes, I need life insurance. I understand the benefits of life insurance, but I'm not going to cut this large check because I would want to take the capital out of my business or my investments that are making a good return. So when you think of calculations, you're typically looking for people that say, okay, I can cut this $100,000, $200,000 check for the life insurance that you need, but there's a cheaper way to do it, and I can retain those assets, keep my money in my business, my real estate, etc. That's the type of candidate that you want to bring up finance. Those are the types of people that understand leverage, and those are the types of people that really understand premium finance and like premium finance. On the banking side, there are three types of banks that do these types of programs. So you have your conglomerates that look at it and say this is just a pure transaction. So that's going to be your first insurance funding, the first group. You have your private banks that do this, and then there are what's called gap collateral banks. Private banks are going to be more of your Wells Fargo, your Northern Trust, people like that, and they're looking for asset gathering. So instead of just doing the transaction, they're going to say, okay, we want the client to be part of our private bank. So it's not just going to be the, whatever the loan is, minus the cash surrender value, that collateral can be held anywhere. It's going to be held at that bank. They're going to say, we want a relationship with that client. So that's kind of the overview of premium finance. Any questions on that stuff before we get into kind of the stress testing and the case studies? Okay, perfect. So what this presentation is really bad. We see a lot of things out there in premium finance that are basically what I would call aggressive design. And when I say aggressive designs, what I'm referring to is people are typically showing something where it's almost labeled as free insurance. It's going to be something that doesn't have a big outlay, if any, and it's going to be very low collateral, high projections. So people are going to show the best of everything. You guys know insurance goal is basically, someone saying, okay, you are the super preferred, healthiest class possible without knowing anything, and we're going to make it as cheap as possible to be free insurance. That's what we're going to show against. So we see a lot of those types of programs out there. And what we do is we try to stress them. So we're going to look at what are the risks of premium finance. You're looking at interest rate risk, policy performance risk, collateral risk, renewal risk, and then changes in financial conditions. And then going through each one, your interest rate risk. So typically under these loans, it's going to be either LIBOR-based, 1 month or 12-month LIBOR, plus a competitive spread. So that's going to be your interest rate risk. You can do either a variable rate note, a variable note with a cap of some nature, or a fixed rate one. Typically, and what we've seen is about 99% of the loans right now are variable rate notes. People just don't want to pay the fees associated with a fixed rate note, and also the expenses. Right now, a lot of people do think that interest rates are still pretty low. Policy performance risk. If you're using an IUL, you have the market risk of it. So you have whatever the S&P or whatever index it is tied to, the risk associated with that. So it's going to be whatever 8049 shows, and then we're going to stress test it. So depending on the policy, the carrier that is doing a policy, anywhere from some sort of level of risk there. Collateral risk. When you look at collateral under this premium finance transaction, it's whatever you borrow from the bank minus the cash surrender value you're posting in collateral. That collateral has to be a liquid instrument and non-qualified. So it can be cash, marketable securities, a letter of credit. If you bring in, let's say, marketable securities, that is a risk. So what we love marketable securities because you can possibly get double arbitrage on it. There is a risk that if the market does go down and that portfolio that is being used as collateral does go down, might need to pledge some more, etc. The renewal risk, that's very small. Typically, and the reason for that is, these are the types of clients that go to the bank that banks love. These are your high net worth individuals. So these are the people that banks want as their clients. So they like to keep these loans on the books because they look at it as a very safe transaction for them. With a client, they would want to do other things with. Changes in financial condition, that's just going to be client changes. So we've seen things where people have gone through divorces. We've seen also macroeconomic stuff where it's like we don't know what's going on in the world today. Interest rates may change, things like that. Those are financial condition change, whether it be on the global level or on the client level. In your packets that we have up there, and this is the full presentation that's in there, is all the slides. I know there's a lot of numbers on here, and I'm just going to highlight certain things. So when you look at this is your typical aggressive design. So this is going to be someone, and we put in the highlighted box there, no debt service. So when we go from left to right, we're looking at, typically these policies are going to be anywhere from a 7 to a 10K design. So on this one here, 7, which is a little light. When you look at moving over the columns, in column 5, you have the interest rate on the loan. They did not move the loan up a whole lot here. Typically, we are in a rising interest rate environment, so we want to show something that is going to have interest rates going up. So in this design, 10 basis points, that's really not a whole lot of increases. No debt service. So a couple things there. Very few carriers allow for full deferrals. The reason why is that's basically some reinsurance. So they want to have what's called skin in the game, and that's a carrier requirement. So there are very few carriers who will actually allow even this to be sold because they want the client putting something in. They want to know that the client is putting money in, understands the risk. The reason why we don't like full accruals, it's a bad management of expectations. It's always a lot easier if you show a client paying something and things change, they don't go according to plan, getting a little bit larger check. But if you show something where the client's not paying a dime, and now you're going to ask them for a check, that's usually a very hard situation. So typically, this is just a very aggressive design. And then you're seeing a year 15 exit on this thing. So the red number in year 16 is being paid off in year 15. AG 49 is 7% return. So you basically have here the best of every world. You're showing a high crediting, very low interest rates, and a client not paying anything. Best of all worlds. So of course, yes, this is very easy to sell. And it's something you can show a client, very easy to sell. But you run into the situation, it's too good to be true, for one thing. And if you show it to any type of other advisor, tax attorney, CPA, lawyer, they're going to also be very, weary of it just because if you look at this, it's the best of everything. So what we like to do is say, okay, that's fine. We see these programs all the time. Let's start stress testing and say, okay, what happens when some of these variables change a little bit? So when you stress test it, we look at LIBOR. So always in our presentations, we have the history of LIBOR. So we show all of our presentations are done on what's called a forward LIBOR curve. And we will show charts and graphs that basically look at LIBOR and say how it's moved. So when someone shows something like that with very little movement, that's not exactly how the past has been. Definitely the past not measure of future performance, but it's a good starting place. Here's the forward LIBOR curve, a lot of numbers. It basically just shows the movement of it. Everything that we do and every number that we're going to put on a page on any of our spreadsheets always has a path into it and can be explained. So it's always going to be either carrier related or bank related based off historical. So we're always going to show that type of stuff to say, okay, this is how we provide these numbers. So when the CPA lawyer, et cetera, looks at it, you have a nice back to type that one up. We also look at index UL frequency. So when you think of typically a lot of carriers will have a zero floor, some sort of cap there, what is the percentile that actually that's going to happen? We all know what AG 49 is, so that's going to have those numbers there. But when we stress, we start looking at, okay, what if we bring these things down a little bit? What is the odds? And just to make you a typical Monte Carlo analysis, we have those for every carrier and every policy that says, okay, what is the 70, 80, 90% confidence interval that of what they're going to historically do for their policy. So what is the likelihood that you're actually going to achieve those rates? Nice way to look at things and basically show, again, we're trying to make it easier on the client to say, this is realistic and what is not realistic. The correlations in interest rates. The judgment show, you typically look, and the market also is based on this, you have the bond market is low, stocks will outperform over time. That is only the concept of what we're trying to do here. And that is why index UL is so popular, is because if you look at it on a non-guaranteed over time funds, it should outperform what we're charging as interest rates. It's just you have to give it time. So, when we started going through the stress test, we kept here the life funding for 7 years. We took up the 25-year average of interest rates, still said don't pay a thing, and we dropped it down to 6.45 from 7. So now that 15-year exit strategy is gone. Can't do it anymore. Just because we dropped it down a little bit and raised interest rates a little bit. Also, the goal here is that 10 million of coverage. Now we're at 6.7 at life expectancy, which is still very attractive. When you think of this, and we always show the internal rate of return, they're still at a 90% internal rate of return, which is also very unrealistic. So, this still for most clients, would be fabulous if it happened like this. But you start looking at some of the variables, and we just changed two things here. So all we did was say, okay, let's raise the interest rates, let's bring down credit a little bit, bridge the gap, make it a little bit closer, and look at the big difference. So suddenly we lost an exit strategy, and we don't meet the client's goals of a death benefit. More reasonable designs. So these are some of the things to think of, and that we like to show people. Show the 10 pay under this one. We show the forward LIBOR rates. So now we have a very consistent explanation for interest rates. We showed the client in this example paying $75,000 a year for 15 years. So it's basically just having the client do something. So having an understanding that yes, this is cost. One thing that we always show in our presentations is a comparison. So it's always going to be that the client is buying life insurance. So we're going to show as a comparative policy either a UL, whole, term, UL, etc. as a non-finance policy. So it's going to be under the chassis that the client is buying life insurance. We're going to show the internal rate of return on death benefit, internal rate of return on cash value in our presentation of that. So they have something as a basis. And I always tell people, you start by selling this stuff there. You start by saying, okay, it's fine. If the client's not a life insurance buyer, premium finance is not going to make a sale. Premium finance is just a funding mechanism. It's not a reason to buy life insurance. So when you have the example of the client under this, of the cost of actually buying $10 million of coverage, and we show a discounting factor, and we show a discounting factor here to get it down to $75,000, look at the difference of what this did. Just by putting in, you got higher interest rates, a little bit more funding, and $75,000 a year. They meet their goal now of the DB exceeded, and we're able to take it down here to 15. So just by doing a couple of those things, it really takes out some of the aggressiveness. Then we stress it even more. Because one of the things here is you're still looking at a 7% return. So what happens now if we drop it down to 6.45? Client's still paying that $75,000, but now they're just paying it for a couple more years. So it's a good way to say to the client, that's why we like to set it up where they're buying a life insurance contract. Because let's say if you're comparing to like a GUL or some UL chassis, they're going to be paying that typically to age 100. So we're shortening off years of that payment. Here we're lowering the payment and we're shortening off. But if things happen, we don't get the returns that we're expecting, interest rates are a little bit higher, we're still outperforming that GUL, UL chassis, but we might have to add on for more years. Here's another thing that possibly we've done in certain scenarios, something to consider. Always for the carriers, they want to see some sort of exit strategy for their premium finance. So they want to see the loan being taken out and being paid off at some time. So one of the things that we've done on some cases is, and as this example here is, if you look at year 15, there's a dumping of cash. So we've done things where the client may sell a business, sell a piece of real estate, get an inflow of cash that can help pay off the loan. Also, it could be other assets. So let's say they have a windfall, there might have been another death in the family, policy return, inheritance, things like that help with the payoff of these loans. So we can structure a lot of different ways to show how we're going to pay this thing off, and things can be done here. So this is part of, I always say, well, when you get a presentation from us that we start with, that is the baseline one. That's going to be your HE49 rate. It's going to be a forward LIBOR curve, and based off the expectations that you have from the client. After that, we're going to stress it. And there's a lot of different things that we do to stress it. Now let's go into some case studies. Any questions on the stress testing? Sure. So that's really the expectation of the client. So you can fall under sometimes if it's, a state planning case, you might have gifting restrictions. So you might want to take up to a gifting limit. If it is more of a supplemental income, it could be anything. So we've done things where they're just paying full interest, they're paying a portion of the interest.
Is there some type of rule of thumb like someone come in and question
No. So it's just like any other type of loan you can pay. It's just a level of risk. So the less you pay, the more risk you're picking up in the program. The more you pay, the less risk you're having in the program. So it's going to be a comfort level of client. So the banks are always going to look at saying that, okay, if I'm going to one-to-one, so as long as whatever you borrow from the bank, minus the cash flow and the value they're posting to the cloud, they're fine with it. Banks actually don't care to defer the interest because they look at if they have the collateral, client defaults, they get paid. So they don't care. But it's how risky that transaction is. Because what happens if you make it too risky, it's a slippery slope. So the more things that can go wrong, you start getting little things that happen, the program is just going to screw it up. So this is an example here. And what I like to start with this example is I always start with the analysis first, and then we go back to what the loan looks like. So under this example, this is a 45-year-old male preferred, and they want a supplemental income. So this was a doctor case. They came to us and said, I want to put away money. I want to put away $50,000 for 7 years, and I want to draw income from 67 on. So those are your typical, your doctors, your athletes, your young entrepreneurs, business owners, supplemental income cases, and can be financed or non-financed. So always we show the non-finance policy, and we're going to show the internal rate of return on death benefit, cash value. So the numbers there are straight off your illustration. So they put $50,000 in for 7 years, and they're able to take out $60,000 of cash. Not bad. I mean, very nice sale. Target was $16,000. Very nice and clean. We then showed them and said, okay, what, instead of spending that $50,000 and sending it to the insurance company, what if you send it to a bank as interest? What would this thing look like? What we did here was, as you can see, the income more than doubled. So now it's 133. Death benefit went up about 4 times on average there for the same $50,000. So always when we start doing analysis, definitely, if you look at this, it makes a whole lot of sense. You say, Mr. Client, okay, we can have option A, option B. Option A, you're just sending it in. Option B, you're using it as a loan. 50 and 50, still spending the same amount of money. The rate of return here is still the exact same. This one will show at 6.45. So the exact same, so you can take out that element. So basically the client, when you're leaving this on, is saying, okay, this makes a lot of sense. How does this all work? Here's the cash value analysis here. Internal rates of return, so definitely you still have the 50 and 50. Now you're showing the internal rates of return on the cash value, significantly greater with the financing. Then again, leading the client to say that, okay, this makes a whole lot of sense. How does this all work? Then we get to the loan spreadsheet. So under this example here, client was spending $50,000 for 7 years. We used a premium deposit fund, because one of the things that also is done with a lot of lenders, whatever you borrow in year 1, that's how they base their rates on. So typically the more you borrow, let's say you get over $1 million of borrow, brings the rates down significantly. So that's something to consider also when we do that analysis. Some carriers allow for a premium deposit account, premium deposit fund, so we use that. Here we show interest rates, again, increasing over time, $50,000. The red numbers in column 11, that is collateral. So for Mr. Client, to get double the income, 4 times the death benefit, you have to post approximately $100,000, still paying the exact same interest, and you have to assume the risk of interest rates. Policy returns could be on both sides, so you're not really picking up any other risk there. What we then show after this is say, okay, what if now we stress test? Interest rates were higher. We have over $60,000 to play with an income. So we show the crossover point. So we show if we're taking interest rates up even higher, there's a crossover point on this. So the nice thing about a transaction here, and then I'll go through some of the other points on it, is when you look at it, you have a long way to go for that client to say that, okay, maybe I didn't get 130, maybe I get 90,000 of income. That's still a huge increase from the non-finance chassis. Other benefits, and we've all been doing this for a long time here. Most people, when they're doing some sort of supplemental income plan, do not fund it accordingly. So if they're going to do on a non-finance chassis, or saying that schedule, I'm going to pay $50,000 for 7 years, most people don't do it. You know, they want to give their kids something, business ties up. So you have all the negatives where they don't put in. What happens when you're doing that under under a normal strategy is more cost of insurance. So now, instead of that cash value increasing as rapidly as it was scheduled, you don't have that. Under finance, you don't have to deal with that stuff because the bank's putting in the money. So it's already there. That's one of the benefits of the financing when you're doing kind of a life insurance retirement strategy, is that the money's going in. Also, when you think of it, the guarantees are not effective because the bank's putting in the money. So if the client were to come to you and say, I can't afford this $50,000 this year, I can only put in 30. Bank's going to say, fine, put in 30. You just have to post more collateral. Also, when you look at flip it on the good side. If Mr. Klein comes to you and says, I don't want to just put in 50 this year, I want to put in 75. Under non-finance chastity, you can't do it. You have to start something else or do something else. Because these are run at minimum non-max. So you're putting in the max money that you turn into a mech if you did that. Here, you pay some interest, some more interest, you pay some more principal. So all you're doing is building more equity into it. So there's a lot of benefits to the financing side and flexibility. That's why when you think of your typical, like your business owner type client, they like flexibility. They don't like streams of payments. They like the ability to pay things off, to accrue things based off their cash flow. So it goes both ways here. You can do it on the negative side and on the positive side. We also have our presentation show all the graphs, the summaries, everything like that. But basically just, it's typically about a 19-page proposal depending on the date. And what that's going to dictate is showing lots of graphs, lots of justification of all the numbers that we have. So just as a way that you can be passed on to your CPA, your lawyers, etc., all of that. Any questions on the supplemental income before I go to another type of case study?
The client, say that $50,000 example, they decide to pay it off after year 3.
And they, in return, gain ownership of that premium deferred account.
Yep.
And the bank is paid off, but it's still not met.
Yep, that's right. So all you're doing is paying off the loan. So it's still, you have the outstanding, let's say $1 million. You just pay it off, so you don't have a commercial loan anymore.
But everything else stays exactly the same.
Correct. So in essence, when you think of simplistic terms, it's you have a 30-year mortgage on your house, and you decide to pay it off in your bond. God bless you. You have all the equity. Other questions?
Do you ever lower the interest rate below 6?
Interest rate in what
Your
sense?
crediting rate on like this one is 6.45.
Oh, the crediting rate.
Yeah, you have the crediting 6.45, and we stress test them in the office. We usually run like a 5.5 or a 6 just to see how they flow.
Here's the answer is yes, but, and here's the but on it. Typically what we're going to do is raise the interest rates. Because the problem that you run into is, especially if you're showing some sort of policy loan takeout, you cannot take to the age of 49 that loan of the policy lower. So it's going to be at a certain, so like, for example, for a lot of carriers, their loan is like 5.25. So I can't drop that. So I mean, you would think, if you're dropping the credit, interest rates would also stabilize. So I can't drop that thing. So typically when distressing, what we do is, instead of bringing that one down a block, we bring the other one up. It has the same effect, but for the policy itself, just because there's certain things I can't move in it, it's easier to move the interest rate.
I might have missed this, but do you stress test based on the caps for the different companies too? Right.
So we have confidence intervals on that stuff. Yep. So basically, if you're looking at, let's say, a FOIA policy, they have a floor and a cap, and here's the historical averages of it. We'll stress that. If you're looking at a Pacific Life one, if you're looking at a John Hancock one, all their policies are a little bit different. They all have different crediting methods. We're going to show differences. So depending on what they are, what their caps and flows are, some of them also have guarantees in there. If, after so many years, it might give you 2%, things like that. We take that into account.
To Alan's presentation a minute ago, if we tie this together with charitable giving and use an entity for it, can the entity own this type of policy?
Yes.
So, and I knew I think a charity can as well, right?
Correct. The only thing you cannot do in premium finance, it cannot put in quality.
Okay.
So you can't, when you think of putting, life insurance in a qualified plan, you can't finance that. But any type of buy-sell arrangements, key man arrangements, deferred compensation, charitable, inside an island, etc., or personally, they all apply. Other questions? What this example is going to be, and that we've seen a lot of, this is going to be a GUL comparison example. But when you think of a lot of the state plans that are out there, you just go, and a lot of trust departments, etc., just go straight off, buy a GUL. Guaranteed to age 100, here's what you got. So whatever the premium is, for 10 million, 5 million, whatever, just buy it, don't think about turn to age 100. Here's some of the good things and bad things that we show about this. So here's the background of it. We've got two 60-year-olds. They purchased a GUL from Lincoln in 2013 for state taxes waived. No longer need as much as soon as the state taxes are being repealed. And they did not want to commit to paying premiums indefinitely. So that's one of the things that we also stress under this example, and when we show this to people. Typically, these programs show premiums that go all the way to age 100. Most people, when they're in their 80s and things like that, don't want to be paying for premiums. It's just something they don't want to pay. So we try to eliminate the premiums a whole lot earlier. So they're looking for options to reduce their costs and provide more flexibility in their financial plan. They're creditworthy, and they're experienced with using leverage, and that's always the key in any premium finance transaction. Again, we start with the analysis. So under this analysis here, it was $130,000 a year forever for $10 million of coverage. Typical GUL, and this would be for single life. This example is for survivorship for $10 million. There's a lot of single life policies that are also out there. So we showed it. Here's what you have. So this is your typical annual review, which you can do with any client of what they already have. We pop it into our software and say, okay, here's your internal rate of return on death benefit, cash value, etc. Here's what it looks like. $130,000 a year, $10 million. This is what it costs. At life expectancy, you got a high 4% internal rate of return. Is what it is. We then show, and typically this is what we do on a lot of these GUL type comparisons, interest rates going up and paying up to that $130,000 loan. So instead of paying it forever, we just chop off years. So again, great for stress testing, because in this example here, we're paying 7 years. If we didn't meet the expectations of the client, if we didn't get the crediting or interest rates moved up faster, we pay more because, let's say 10, 15, 20 years. Still way better than an all pay for 2 60-year-olds. So it's still not 40 years of paying. Here's a cash value comparison. In this example, not a huge comparison to think about, just because your GUL in comparison doesn't have any cash, or is very limited on cash, but we're bringing in a whole lot of cash into our example. So when you think of the client's goals, the flexibility of what they can do with these things, this brings in some nice benefits of saying, great, we have cash value. So we show the value of cash value of these things. So here's your example of what it did. Paying up to $130,000 for 7 years. Very limited collateral needed, we paid off in year 11. So these are nice, and I work with a lot of brokers around the United States. So is my office. The number one sales strategy is this. It's annual reviews. It's going back to existing clients that you've already sold stuff to, and just saying, maybe let's look at this a little bit different. Let's see what you got. Because what happens with a lot of these programs is, you don't have actually the GUL to age 100. Because rarely do clients pay exactly on time. So you might have the GUL to age 90, 95. Things change. So it's a great way to go back to your clients and look at them and say, okay, here's what you have. Nice way also for the clients that you're trying to attract, your centers of influence, say, I do a lot of annual reviews. This is a great annual review tool to show people what they have. And then we show the comparison of what you possibly could have. And that's the financing chapter. Worst that can happen is they say no. Best thing that can happen is potentially have a new sale. And with all these things, the targets jump rapidly. So like in this example here, the target was 130 on the GUL side. The target on the financing side was 300. In the first example that I used, the non-finance target was $16,000. The finance target was $100,000. So just because you're magnifying things, you're putting more money in there, and typically under financing, you have to buy a little bit more insurance to cover the loan. Targets go up rapidly. But this is a great tool to show the comparison of saying what you currently have for a client versus what you could have. So it's a nice way to look at it. Questions on this type of strategy? These are all the analysis pages. And I want to highlight this analysis because this is another thing that people look at. It's called a retained asset analysis. So when you think of your business owners, what they're always trying to do is they want to spend as little as possible for things to retain their assets. Because they will say, oh, I make 10% of my money, 15% of my money, etc. So when you think of premium finance, it's always the thought of, okay, if I can discount, pay for my life insurance quote less, and retain those assets, keep them in my business, etc., what am I making? This analysis will show it. So what we do is instead of, like in this example, that client spending $130,000 a year for every year, what if they kept that in their trust account? What if they kept that in their business, etc., grew it out at some rate of return, and they're going to have even more. This is also a great way to work with money managers as a center of influence. For the simple reason that when you think of money managers, and this is something we've done on a lot of conference calls to attract them, how many times do they get calls throughout the year for their clients sell some assets in the trust account to pay for life insurance premiums? So sell that American fund, sell that Apple stock. So because we have to make a nice life insurance payment, or a survivorship policy, or a state payment, etc. Well, what if as a money